Chapter 3. If you were to take a plastic bag and place it inside a large bowl, and then, using a wooden spoon, stir the bag around and around the bowl, you could use the expression, a mixed bag, to describe what you had in front of you. But you would not be using the expression in the same way I'm about to use it now. Although a mixed bag sometimes refers to a plastic bag that has been stirred in a bowl, more often it is used to describe a situation that has both good parts and bad parts. An afternoon at a movie theater, for instance, would be a mixed bag if your favorite movie were showing, but if you had to eat gravel instead of popcorn. I'm very tired of discussing your little twin friends, Esme said one day as the Baudelaires and the Squallers sipped aqueous martinis one evening in a living room the children had never seen before. I know you're worried about them, but it's boring to keep blabbing on about it. We didn't mean to bore you, Violet said, not adding that it is terribly rude to tell people that their troubles are boring. Of course you didn't, Jerome said, picking the olive out of his fancy glass and popping it into his mouth before turning to his wife. The children are concerned, Esme, which is perfectly understandable. I know Mr. Poe is doing all he can, but maybe we can put our heads together and come up with something else. I don't have time to put my head together, Esme said. The inn auction is coming up, and I have to devote all my energies to making sure it's a success. The inn auction? Klaus asked. An auction, Jerome explained, is a sort of sale. Everyone gets together in a large room, and an auctioneer shows off a bunch of things that are available for purchase. If you see something you like, you can call out how much you'd be willing to pay for it. That's called a bid. Then somebody else might call out a bid, and somebody else, and whoever calls out the highest price wins the auction and buys the item in question. It's terribly exciting. Your mother used to love them. I remember one time— You forget the most important part, Esme interrupted. It's called the inn auction because we're selling only things that are in. I always organize it, and it's one of the most smashing events of the year. Smashing? Sunny said. In this case, Klaus explained to his younger sister, the word smashing doesn't mean things get smashed up. It means fabulous. And it is fabulous, Esme said, finishing her aqueous martini. We hold the auction at Veblen Hall, and we auction off only the innest things we can find, and best of all the money goes to a good cause. Which good cause? Violet asked. Esme clapped her long nails together with glee. Me! Every last bit of money that people pay at the auction goes right to me! Isn't it smashing? Oh, actually, dear, Jerome said, I was thinking that this year perhaps we could give the money to another good cause. For instance, I was just reading about this family of 7. The mother and father lost their jobs, now they're so poor they can't even afford to live in a one-room apartment. We might send them some of the auction money to people like them. Don't talk nonsense, Esme said crossly. If we give money to poor people, then they won't be poor anymore. Besides, this year we're going to make heaps of money. I had lunch with 12 millionaires this morning, and 11 of them said they were definitely going to attend the inn auction. The 12th one has to go to a birthday party. Just think of the money I'll make, Jerome. Maybe we can move to a bigger apartment. But we just moved in a few weeks ago, Jerome said. I'd rather spend some money on putting the elevator back in use. It's very tiring to climb all the way up to the penthouse. There you go again, talking nonsense, Esme said. If I'm not listening to my orphans babble about their kidnapped friends, I'm listening to you talk about things like elevators. Well, we have no more time for chit-chat in any case. Gunther is stopping by tonight, and I want you, Jerome, to take the children out for dinner. Who's Gunther? Jerome asked. Gunther is the auctioneer, of course, Esme replied. He's supposed to be the innest auctioneer in town, and he's going to help me organize the auction. He's coming over tonight to discuss the auction catalogue, and we don't want to be disturbed. That's why I want you to go out to dinner and give us a little privacy. Oh, but I was going to teach the children how to play chess tonight, Jerome said. No, Esme said. You're going out to dinner. It's all arranged. I made a reservation at Café Salmonella for 7 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock now, so you better get moving. You want to allow plenty of time to walk down all those stairs, but before you leave, children, I have a present for each of you. At this, the Baudelaire children were taken aback, a phrase which here means surprised that someone who was so selfish had purchased gifts for them. But sure enough, Esme reached behind the dark red sofa she was sitting on and brought out 3 shopping bags that had the words "In Boutique" written on them in fancy curly script. With an elegant gesture, Esme handed a bag to each Baudelaire. I thought that if I bought you something you really wanted, she said, you might stop all this chatter about the quagmires. What Esme means, Jerome added hurriedly, is that we want you to be happy in our home, even when you're worried about your friends. That's not what I mean at all, Esme said. But never mind. Open the bags, kids. The Baudelaires opened their presents, and I'm sorry to say that the shopping bags were mixed bags as well. There are many things that are difficult in this life, but one thing that isn't difficult at all is figuring out whether someone is excited or not when they open a present. If someone is excited, they will often put exclamation points at the ends of their sentences to indicate their excited tone of voice. If they say, "Oh," for instance, the exclamation point would indicate that a person is saying, "Oh," in an excited way rather than simply saying, "Oh," with a comma after it, which would indicate that the present is somewhat disappointing. "Oh," Violet said as she opened her present. "Oh," Klaus said as he opened his. "Oh," Sunny said as she tore open her shopping bag with her teeth. "Pinstripe suits! I knew you'd be excited," Esme said. "You must have been mortified the last few days walking around the city without wearing any pinstripes. Pinstripes are in, and orphans are in, so just imagine how in you'll be when you orphans are wearing pinstripes. No wonder you're so excited." "They didn't sound excited when they opened that present," Jerome said. "And I don't blame them. Esme, I thought we said we'd buy Violet a toolkit. She's very enthusiastic about inventing, and I thought we support that enthusiasm." "But I'm enthusiastic about pinstripe suits," Esme said. "And I'm enthusiastic about pinstripe suits, too," Violet said, knowing that you should always say that you are delighted with the present, even though you don't like it at all. "Thank you very much." "And Klaus was supposed to get such a good almanac," Jerome continued. "I told you all about his interest in the International Dateline, and an almanac is a perfect book to learn all about that." "Oh, but I'm very interested in pinstripes," said Klaus, who could lie as well as his sister when the need arose. "I really appreciate this gift." "And Sunny," Jerome said, "was going to be given a large square made of bronze. It would have been attractive and easily biteable." "J'aime," Sunny said. She meant something along the lines of, "I love my suit, thank you so very much," even though she didn't mean it one bit. "No, we discussed buying those silly items," Esme said with a wave of her long-nailed hand. "But tools have been out for weeks. Almanacs have been out for months. And I received a phone call just this afternoon informing me that large bronze squares are not expected to be in for at least another year. What's in now is pinstripes, Jerome. And I don't appreciate you trying to teach my new children that they should ignore what's in and what's out. Don't you want what's best for the orphans?" Of course," Jerome sighed. "I hadn't thought about it that way, Esme. Well, children, I do hope you like your gifts, even though they don't exactly match up with your interests. Why don't you go change into your new suits and we'll wear them to dinner?" "Oh, yes," Esme said. "Café Salmonella is one of the cutest restaurants. In fact, I think they'd even let you eat there if you're not wearing pinstripes, so go change. But hurry up, Gunther is arriving any minute now." "We'll hurry," Klaus promised. "And thank you again for our gifts." "You're very welcome," Jerome said with a smile, and the children smiled back at him. Walked out of the living room, down a long hallway, across a kitchen, through another living room, past 4 bathrooms, and so on, and so on, and so on, eventually finding their way to their bedrooms. They stood together for a minute outside the 3 bedroom doors, looking sadly into their shopping bags. "I don't know how we're going to wear these things," Violet said. "I don't either," Klaus said. "And it's all the worse knowing that we almost got presents we really want." "Puke-a-till," Sunny agreed glumly. "Listen to us," Violet said. "We sound hopelessly spoiled. We're living in an enormous apartment. We each have our own room. The doorman has promised to watch out for Count Olaf, and at least one of our new guardians is an interesting person. And yet we're standing here complaining." "You're right,"